body's not telling us the correct things. It's not triggering our brain correctly. So after about 3 days, your leptin and ghrelin hormone levels are going to be so balanced that you will not have that insatiable hunger, so you think it is, and you're going to realize, oh, I just need to drink some water, have some coffee, something, get something flowing in my system, and that's really all I needed. I didn't really need that bowl of oatmeal or whatever you think you need in the morning. And after a while, every single person that has tried it, any client of mine that has tried it, after a week, they're like, how in the world did I not do this sooner? It is so easy. I'm saving money. All I have to worry about is 2 to 3 meals in a day. And there you go. So meal prep is super easy and you don't have to think about anything. Now, that brings me to my next point is the brain, okay? So there is the ketogenic diet. There is intermittent fasting. Now, a good lethal combination in the weight loss arena would be doing the ketogenic diet while intermittent fasting. And I know that Chris that's watching this has dabbled with both and he's overlapped both. He's had incredible results. I think he's had like 75-pound weight loss, which is awesome. So when you are doing both, you reach a state of ketosis, or that is the goal, to where you're burning nothing but fat. So you burn through your glycogen stores, which is typically what happens when you put carbohydrates in your body, but we're not doing that. So our body is burning nothing but the fats. Our body releases ketones, but ketones actually trigger something called, and I'm bad with remembering acronyms, so BDNF molecules, okay? BDNF is in the brain and it is responsible for our memory and our focus, okay? So learning, anything cognitive related BDNF is responsible for it. So they have shown that by 6 weeks of doing intermittent fasting and the ketogenic diet, but it's tenfold with intermittent fasting, that your cognitive function is going to be so much snappier. You are going to feel sharp as a tack, and it is just incredible for what it can do to memory. They've tried it with Alzheimer's patients, and their memory has sharpened within 6 weeks. It's a quick thing. So the cognitive benefits, for me, I feel like that trumps weight loss benefits any day, because that is just a shame when someone is going through their day, they're like, man, my mind's everywhere, I can't focus. And think about how many of you need that focus through the day to, get through meetings, to close the deal, with whatever business you're running. And because you're just lethargic, because whatever you ate or however you ate is just dragging you down and you just cannot focus, you're tired. It's just not a pretty sight. So intermittent fasting is the number one way to sharpen those skills. And the benefit too is when you're doing the ketogenic diet, unfortunately, that's a diet. Intermittent fasting, yes, you should still consume, healthy fats, healthy protein, vegetables. You want to keep your carbs, healthy carbs, but you can still consume those types of foods. And intermittent fast, it's an eating technique. It's not a diet, so you're not restricting anything from your diet. It's just the way in which you eat. And I'm not going to go into all the specifics, but if you guys do want to know more about that, reach out to me, because I do have an ebook that breaks it down for you, the how-tos, the why are we doing it, all the foods to eat. But that's the beauty of it. And studies compare the ketogenic diet with intermittent fasting. Not only is intermittent fasting good because you have that leeway to eat bad foods sometimes and still get away with it, but you are reaching ketosis on like a 4-fold level with a ketogenic diet, whereas you can get up to like a 20, like it's times 20 with intermittent fasting. So that's the comparison. It's more than triple what you're doing with the ketogenic diet, and you have some leeway. So in my book, that's a winner, because I know I can't just eat straight fat And I know a lot of people have had success with it, and then they reach out to me. They're like, okay, Sarah, I need a little bit more balanced meal plan. Can you help me? I'm kind of overeating nothing but fat, butter, cheese. I mean, it's like butter and cheese is like the main thing. So that's huge. Now, detoxification. You guys, I don't know if you know this, but things and outside factors do not heal our body. Our body heals our body. So think about it this way. If you are eating all throughout the day and you're eating up until the time you go to sleep, and then, none of us are sleeping properly, so you might only be sleeping for like 5 hours or less. That's another way of increasing cortisol, if you guys didn't know. If you're not getting the proper amount of sleep, that is the number one thing I tell people that are struggling with weight loss. You need to evaluate your sleeping patterns and make it a point to get more sleep because, again, cortisol is not going to help you lose that weight. So I digress like I always do. And I want to know, drop it in the comments, how many hours on average do all of you get a night? I want to see, is it 5 hours, 6 hours, 7 hours? Let me know. Or is it just like all over the place? Drop it in the comments. I'm very curious. So if we're eating and we only have a fasting state when we are sleeping, our body has no time to detoxify. Okay, so the liver, the colon cleansing, we only have maybe 5 to 7 hours to do that. And then you wake up and then you're putting something in your body. And for a lot of people, you have to admit, you're putting Pop-Tarts, toaster strudels up in there. And, and then we're starting that inflammation process over and over again. So unless you are someone that is like so tight on your nutrition, you never go outside of the box, then the intermittent fasting will benefit you. I'm not kidding you. Because so the whole goal of intermittent fasting, you're only eating 2 to 3 meals in a day, okay? So that only allows our body 2 to 3 times to put things in that may or may not be healthy, but ultimately that is when we get an insulin spike and our blood sugar spikes. When we are in the presence of insulin, you cannot burn fat. That is the whole point of weight loss while doing intermittent fasting. We are decreasing the number of potential insulin spikes and blood sugar spikes, which means we stay in the fat burning zone and we do not get into the fat storage zone. When we are putting shitty foods in our body, pardon my French, but when we're putting all the crap in our body and we're eating all throughout the day, our blood sugar is going up and down and up and down and up and down. When your blood sugar goes up, the pancreas releases insulin in order to bring it back down to baseline. And when we have that rise and fall, that is when we are pre-diabetic, potentially developing into diabetes, and we are staying in the fat storage zone, not the fat burning zone. And that's when you feel like, oh, I have a sugar buzz. I'm rocking and rolling. And then I had that sugar crash. And that's what it is, you guys. It's because your blood sugar is up and down, your insulin is up and down, but your insulin actually stays elevated is the problem. And that's called insulin resistance. So your pancreas has to release more and more and more insulin in order to get that blood sugar back down the way it should. And the receptors are all out of whack, out of sync. And that's the problem. Again, hormone imbalances. Now, when you're intermittent fasting, everything from insulin sensitivity, so you're more sensitive to insulin, you're not resistant to it, and it is improving our leptin and ghrelin, it is improving our cortisol, so hormone central, like everything is in balance. Our body is just functioning so on point to the T, and that just makes us more of a machine. The whole goal in life is to do things so it benefits you in the long run, am I right? I mean, I can't tell you how many times people want a quick fix and they're like, I want to do it, I want to see results tomorrow. Well, why don't you set yourself up for the rest of your life and do something to improve the function of your system altogether? And stop just like living day to day and just cranking supplement after supplement thinking that it's going to heal your body, because it won't. Now, I do promote a few supplements that are natural, but the only way that they're going to work efficiently is if we are putting the correct foods in our body and we are eating properly at the right times and all that good stuff. Because anything else that you do, I don't care how good the product line is, you're probably dumping half your money down the drain because you're not able to use that supplement to its best ability. And if any of you, I am curious, what are you guys using? If any of you that are watching on the live or the replay are using any supplements, products, whatever you want to call them, drop it in the comments because I want to see. I mean, are you drinking shakes? Are you taking, any kind of fat burners? Are you doing probiotics? What are you taking? I would like to know. And then the last thing that I want to talk about is the fact that this helps improve your triglycerides. Something that I don't think a lot of people realize. You hear cholesterol is the issue. High cholesterol will kill you. Well, yes and no. Triglycerides are a little bit more important. Now, the cholesterol, there's the HDLs and the LDLs. The HDLs are the healthy, the good cholesterols. The problem is we don't want the LDLs to be too high and the HDLs to be too low. So your HDL should be high, your LDLs need to be low, and there is something called particles for your cholesterol. So it's not so much the cholesterol, it's the particles. And I'm gonna be doing a whole other live on that because that's scary in itself, that people don't realize there's a difference. It's not just one number across the board. So someone else that might have a higher cholesterol level than myself, if their particles are different than mine, then it can mean a totally different thing. So yes, Drew's in the house. Yes. But that's it, you guys. So the two things to take away from this, yes, intermittent fasting it's amazing for weight loss and for increasing human growth hormone, which increases lean muscle mass, all that good stuff. But ultimately, it helps trigger that molecule in the brain that helps us learn, stay focused, keeps us sharp and on our toes. And that's what we all want to do. Like, who wants to be known as that person that's always sluggish and can't ever remember anything, that when they speak, they don't know what they're talking about, they are in a meeting and they lose train of thought? Who wants it? I don't want it. I want to be sharp. I want to be on point. And intermittent fasting is a good way of releasing that molecule through the ketones, which we get the ketones by intermittent fasting or doing the ketogenic diet. And again, to rehash, the ketogenic diet is a diet because we are limited on what we can eat. Intermittent fasting is an eating technique. It's not a diet. We are not excluding any foods, although anyone that has worked with me knows I stress low glycemic. Mike knows what I'm talking about. He's sharp as a tack. When I watch those Facebook Lives, Mike, you are on point. You must be intermittent fasting. I think he is. And then the second, you guys, detoxification. The whole name of the game in life, in health, is lowering inflammation in the body, trying to reverse free radical damage. Now, if you don't know what that is, you know what it is. It's basically through living, it's inevitable. We take in toxins, we drink, we smoke. Well, not all of us, but we exercise. So even doing the healthy things, we are enduring free radical damage, which is creating inflammation in the body, which ultimately leads to disease and pain and aches, all the issues, wrinkles, just aging in general. So we need to find a way that we can decrease inflammation in our body and feel better, prevent certain things from happening in the future. And we do that through detoxifying our body. And again, the easiest way to detoxify our body naturally is giving ourselves time for healing. And that is during the fasting state of this intermittent fasting. So Mike wants to know if I drink and if I smoke. Now, never smoked anything ever. Have I drank? Yes, I do have a cocktail from time to time. I am by no means an alcoholic. But hey, this is a true story, right? I'm being real. People say they like that I'm real and I tell my truth. The very few the very first few